Hey, everybody. It's been a while since we've seen the live crowd here on Fans of Something.
I don't think it was too long ago.
Yeah, it's been about a week. It's been about a week since our last live. Kind of trying to focus more on videos because those are more subscriber friendly for sure. Absolutely, 100%. Trying to build that crowd before we
We're not abandoning you guys.
try to do any super duper killer live streams, but we did want to do this one because Black Mirror just released season 6
after 4 years
on Netflix. Yeah, there was going to be there was a lot of hoopla over if Charlie Brooker, the creative genius, wanted to even continue with the show. He thought because of the pandemic, people were, kind of sick and tired and didn't want to see Bleak. And so that's why there was that whole gap right there.
But I like Bleak.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think it's I don't know the numbers, the ratings.
Being depressed.
I think season 6 definitely brought, because I think it was at number 2 when we looked at it. It was on number 2 trending on Netflix. So it has an audience. I absolutely love it. It's in my top 5 favorite television shows of all time.
I think I've only watched 5 television shows.
Well, and that's some of your top 5, I guess. So it's that good, in my opinion. I'm sure there's some people out there that don't think it's that good.
It's different. I feel like it stands out because a lot of modern series, I shouldn't say TV because who watches like standard TV anymore? Like series are very story driven, where this is an anthology. And I mean, you hardly see any of that, let alone ones that people talk about.
Yeah, it's credited with kind of repopularizing the whole anthology thing.
Yeah, so I like that I could just eeny, meeny, miny, mo, this episode tonight. I like that.
And the cool thing is if you're trying to up your Letterboxd count, they count these as like these are on Letterboxd for some reason.
And they got some really nice posters, like really comic book-ish style,
which
that
is
really neat.
Which is weird because
but it fits.
I was thinking, how come Twilight Zone isn't on there? Which this is very much modern day Twilight Zone, and that's sort of my justification. There is they're only like 30.
Not movies, but like little segments, like little universes in and of themselves.
Some of them are feature length. Absolutely, some of them are feature length.
Like the one we watched today was only like 40 some minutes.
But then it's sort of like, how come like American Horror Story isn't on? Because those are anthology episodes, right?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think
it's weird that Letterboxd picks and chooses the TV shows, because this is technically a television show. So why is it even on Letterboxd in the first place?
The thing is, like, each individual episode has its own thing, whereas like limited series like Chernobyl has like the entire in one. So it's like it'll list it as like 2,000 minutes or something.
I guess. I don't know. Either way, if you're trying to up your Letterboxd count, like in terms of how much you're watching, for sure, Black Mirror is a good way to go, because each one counts as an entry in your diary. So it's cool that way. And yeah, we're just excited to talk about it. We have we were just going over our top 5. We have the same 4, except for one. So we have the same top 4, although they could be in a different order. But there's one that differentiates each of us.
Well, I feel like this is very fitting for us, because when I first watched Black Mirror was because of you.
Oh, cool.
You showed me my first episode.
Very cool.
So every single episode since was we watched together.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure. So I introduced you to Black Mirror. I'm trying to remember how I was introduced to Black Mirror.
I feel like everybody was talking about it.
Yeah, I think a lot of, I know my first episode was the very first episode, which if anybody asks me what episode should I, like what should be the gateway for me, like if I'm curious about Black Mirror, what should I watch? I say watch season 1, episode 1, because if you don't like that, then I don't think you're gonna like. That's
not fair.
But Charlie Brooker himself said he wanted to start the series this way because this is the way to get your audience either on board for the whole thing or to just, turn away the naysayers kind of thing.
Well, the thing is, okay, there's two distinct eras of Black Mirror.
British and American.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, with British people, it's a whole different sense of humor, storytelling.
Yeah,
So
the first 2 seasons, they call them series, but the first 2 seasons
Are British people.
were on BBC, I believe, and then Netflix purchased Black Mirror, and from season 3 on, I believe, is when it's been on Netflix.
yes, so the tones of the two different eras are
Mhm,
very different. Like same universe, like they all still feel like they're in the same universe,
mhm.
but from an audience perspective, if I mean, it's not like if you're an American, maybe British humor commentary isn't for you, then I wouldn't say watch season 1, episode 1, because maybe like something in the later seasons will hook you. I'm just saying, don't judge it based on season 1, episode 1. If it isn't your cup of tea, pick an episode from like season 3. Oh, ooh, that rhymed.
See, I disagree. I think season 1, episode 1. So here's a quick summation of season 1, episode 1.
It's a
The
pig.
prime minister's daughter, some family member, is kidnapped by this person or people, this group, and they are going to kill her, or they'll let her live if the prime minister has sex with a pig on live television. There you go. Now you're either on board to watch that episode and you're curious about, oh my God, what a dilemma. Or you're like, what? And that's pretty much, I think, the best way to view Black Mirror, because from that point on, yes, I don't think the episodes are that extreme. There's a couple episodes that kind of go up to, bat for extreme like that, but I just think that's the one that's sort of like, wow, they're really going for it here. And you're either going to like it, like I liked it.
I'm not saying I didn't like it.
Yeah. I mean, but I was like, wow,
I'm-
ballsy,
I'm saying
ballsy.
that to me doesn't define Black Mirror, and that's just my
No,
opinion.
it doesn't define Black Mirror, but
It's just my opinion.
but if you don't like that episode,
Go have sex with a pig.
what makes you think that you're going to dig some of the other episodes? I know they're drastically different. A lot of them deal with love, like San Junipero and striking vipers.
Vipers.
So like they're not that extreme, like going into the bestiality stuff, but
Well, one of them
it's
touches on pedophilia,
they're
but that's a whole
they're
nother
all
story.
shocking in one way or another. So if you don't like being shocked, what are you doing watching Black
Okay.
Mirror, right?
Okay.
So watch season 1, episode 1. I'm curious, chat room, has anyone seen season 1, episode 1? What are your thoughts on it? It's called The National Anthem.
Oh,
Spoilers, it's not in either of our top 5. It is in my top 10, though. It's in my top 10.
I haven't thought that far.
It's in my top 10.
Wait, spoiler alert, guys. This is like turning point. If you're like, boo, their opinions stink, you can leave now. We haven't seen every episode of Black Mirror.
No, we have not seen every single episode of Black Mirror. We, I believe
We've
we're
seen
up, we're up to 16, and there's 26. So we have 10 episodes left,
I was gonna say the percentage.
and then we also have to watch the interactive film Bandersnatch.
Yeah, that one.
That's
I feel
separate.
like
That's separate from its own.
I feel like that one I'll get into like a mini hyperfixation with. So it's like, how much time am I willing to shell out?
Am I right? We have 10 left.
I'm seeing. I hate when Letterboxd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
11. Well, hold on. Let me see.
Are you counting Bandersnatch? Are you counting Bandersnatch?
Is that in there?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't count Bandersnatch.
fine.
That's its own thing.
10 plus 1.
So 10 episodes plus the feature length, because Bandersnatch is feature length. It's a movie. So yeah.
16. So there's 28 episodes.
We've seen more than half of the entirety of Black Mirror. So and we've seen at least one episode per season. So I feel very confident.
63%.
So I feel very confident in saying that let's make a top 5. And then what's really cool is once we do finish all of Black Mirror, we're going to come back on here and then we're going to do, I don't know if we're going to rank the entire series or if we're just going to see if,
That'll be a while.
or if we're going to see if like the whole like top 5 changes. Cause I don't know. Personally, I don't see my top 5 changing anytime soon.
I do.
Cool.
I'm
Good.
open to it. So like not that I see or don't see, I'm just open to it.
Cool.
I'm open to be proven wrong.
All right, let's dive into this and then we're going to dive. I mean, this is going to be a pretty quick live. I don't expect a lot of people to check this out because a lot of our audience probably doesn't give a 2 shits about Black Mirror.
Don't give a frog's fat ass.
So, whatever. We're just on here and we're going to be off very soon. So,
yeah, so
that's what it is. All right, here we go. Adrian, what's going on, Adrian? Hey, Ed, Haley, how you
Hi.
doing? We're doing good, man.
Nobody's
How
saying
the fuck you doing?
Nobody's saying hi to Felix.
Hello, everyone. What's going on, Kevin?
Hello.
Nadia says Black Mirror is hit or miss. I love the show nonetheless. So in the 16 that I have listed,
17. It's 17.
Oh, sorry, yeah, 17 because we did just watch. So in that 17, there are only 2 episodes that I don't like. So I think for me personally, Black Mirror is way more hit than miss.
I'm way more critical. So I think I have a few more. I'd have to actually find a look.
Jamming out to this music. Oh, the
we
little
love royalty free,
yeah.
happy music.
Laren, great to see you. I've never seen a single episode of Black Mirror. Dude, you are, I mean,
the hell are
dude,
you
please,
doing?
tonight, do you have, I assume you have Netflix. Please do yourself a favor. Text me afterwards because I'm very curious. If you can squeeze it in, I think it's like 60 minutes. Watch season 1, episode 1, the national anthem, and I want to know your thoughts on it. And tell me if you're on board.
I have 4 of the ones that we watched that I didn't like.
So it's more hit than miss for you.
More hit than miss, yes, but I'm
It's
more
like
critical on it than you.
It's like the modern Twilight Zone, right? Yes, it's
senor.
basically that's what Charlie Brooker, the creator, he credits Twilight Zone. I've heard of Black Mirror, haven't seen it. Well, that's crazy because Adrian, you're over in the UK, right? So that's where it originated.
That's like saying like, oh, you're American, you haven't seen a popular American show.
American Horror Story.
No, it's not popular. Like
American Horror Story is not popular enough.
I'm saying like
get her, people. Get her right now.
I haven't seen it.
Get her right now. It had multiple, at least one Halloween Horror Night house.
I know.
It's popular.
I know.
Oh, you introduced Kevin to Black Mirror. Very cool. I wonder if you've heard about Black Books. Yeah. Never heard about Black Books. See, the cool thing is some of you might be wondering, why is it called Black Mirror? What does it have? Like, what does a Black Mirror have to do with this?
Like, what even is that?
Well, Charlie Brooker, who I would love to talk to at some point. Like if that ever happens, that's a bucket list interview right there. But
he's fairly young.
Black Mirror is this thing right here. It's black and it's a mirror. Look at that. It's every smartphone, every tablet, every computer screen you've ever seen.
Yeah, so basically, like, the bulk of what the series is misunderstood as technology bad because it's in, like, a world adjacent to our own or, like, ever so slightly in the future, where it's pretty much modern, but there's something different.
Some episodes are not modern. San Junipero's in the 80s, I believe.
No, it's the world. No, it's modern, but it's
the majority of the episodes, spoiler free, is in the 80s.
Right.
The one we watched tonight was a 2005, I believe. The whole episode.
Well,
did you not pick up on that?
No, I did.
The dial-up.
I did.
The little iPod shuffle.
Yeah. I picked up on it when they said Tom and Kate.
Yeah, Surrey.
But basically, main chunk is people, wrongfully say technology bad, boo. But it's really just a red herring in that it's not technology that makes people bad. It's the people using it. Like, people are bad.
Get him, please.
Feel it.
right now.
Oi.
All right, so he's just messing with the cable cords behind the computer, so can't have that. Eric Stone, hello, what's going on? I think they both plan to wear gray tonight. Yeah, yeah. I thought about wearing a black shirt. But I was a little too
The nose.
a little too, yeah, on the nose. Have you two seen Spaced? Have
Nope.
not seen Spaced. No. Let's see here. Hard copy. What's going on? Watched all of season 1, some of 2, I believe, and I watched a few of the new ones. Excited to hear your favorites. Yeah, dude. I mean, it's I would say, definitely keep going with the show. Keep going with the show. I think I've calculated most of my favorites in my top 5 have come from season 4. So keep going with the show. It's definitely worth checking out. He's still over here.
Because he sees the tent that it is. And he's like, oh, that's fun. Go ahead, keep talking. You want it?
Hold on. This is why we have. Be right back. And we're back. All right, so
Feline difficulties.
yes. Let's see here. So yeah, Vin, please keep going with it. I'm very curious what your thoughts are. Let's see here. Everybody's saying hi to Felix, and then Bad Kitty. Yes. Don't play with the cords. Do we look like we're like it's a little laggy?
Like the frame rate's bad.
Yeah, like what's going on with that? Oh, there it is. It fixed itself. Okay. Okay, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. No spoilers. We're gonna really try to remain as ambiguous as possible because I know
Considering not
someone like
everybody's watched.
Laren has not seen probably the episodes. A majority of people probably watching have not seen the episodes, but we're gonna as spoiler free as possible. So what are your what's your number 5?
My number 5, if you want to.
Mhm.
My number 5 is, I believe it's one of the feature length ones. I think it clocked in at like 74 minutes.
Okay.
And it is White Christmas. That one.
With Mr. John Hamm from Mad Men. Fun fact, did you know he was considered for the role of Negan in The Walking Dead?
I can see
Look
it.
at him right there. Can you see Negan?
Yeah,
Right?
I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really a fan of the way Black Mirror does this episode and another one, where it's like an anthology in an anthology.
Yeah, there's like 3 little mini stories in this feature length episode.
That like there's an overarching story, and then it's like the puzzle pieces are put together by these 3 little stories within the episode.
Yeah.
And each one I feel like gets worse than the last, and you leave the story with a pit in your stomach.
So get like I think the best way to go about these episodes is to give like the end point for anybody that might be going, White Christmas. What is that about? So White Christmas,
It takes place on Christmas, but it's like, does it really matter?
it
It's like, do you really call this a Christmas episode?
Yeah,
No.
they just wanted to have a Christmas episode. This episode, two men wake up in a cabin.
And
They don't know how they got there,
they
right?
they don't know how they got there.
They don't know how they got
They don't
there.
even know why they're there, or
They're not sure if they know each other.
yeah. So they decide to sort of spend the time that they are there just shooting the shit.
Yep.
And what they have to say is not all too pleasant.
Yeah, and John Hamm is he's the main guy.
One of them, yeah.
He's like the guy that starts telling the story.
Yeah.
So don't let the fact that it's called White Christmas be don't be like,
Doesn't
oh,
have
well,
anything to do with
I guess
it.
I have to save that for the Christmas time.
No, it's kind of like one of the episode or one of the segments sort of has to do with it, but it really doesn't matter. I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah, you'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll make sense.
Yeah.
The titles of all these episodes are so ambiguous.
They are, and then most of the time, I'm always going, "Oh, okay."
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
I
like,
get it
that's
now.
why that's
I
called
get it.
this. Some of them, like one we're gonna mention, I don't get. I still don't get.
Okay, yeah,
But
we'll figure it out. So that's your number 5. So
Number
very
5.
interesting because my 5 is the one that differentiates. So we literally have the same top 4, just in a different order.
Mhm.
So that's very interesting. So number 5 for Haley is White Christmas. Number 5 for me
It's a title I don't understand even after watching the episode.
is an episode that I found out because I didn't remember, like I didn't make the two connections. Stars the girl who is the main lead in Barbarian.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so
Well, I mean, when you have a time difference of that much.
she did this episode, and then obviously she went on and did stuff like Barbarian, but this is called Hang the DJ.
Like, what does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. Hang the DJ. This is the one that I'm the least familiar with because we've only
Oh, what?
ever seen each episode once. And this is the one that I don't remember the most about.
Basically, it's about there's this app that basically guarantees it'll find you your perfect match.
Mm,
Yeah, but every so it has to go through a series of trials to sort of gauge who you are as a person.
mhm.
So each relationship you have is only limited to a certain amount of time.
Okay.
So it's basic, and then time's up. So it'd be like if we were both single, we both had the app. A relationship with you could be like 10 minutes or like 10 years. And then after that 10 years, no matter where you are, it ends
Okay.
until you find your perfect one.
Yeah, this is the one I feel like, and because I too don't understand why it's called Hang the DJ, I would have to go back and rewatch it because there is a lot to this episode that on one viewing you're not going to retain, especially if you go through all of Black Mirror. But I just do know that this is like when it ended, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
wow.
I mean, I
wow.
guess it's not a spoiler to say that like everything's not as it seems with
Well,
every
that's-
episode you watch.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's every Black Mirror.
That's what I'm
episode
saying. So
usually.
it's like everything we're telling you is very surface level.
Mhm.
It 180s you. It basically, you either leave each episode with a pit in your stomach or with your jaw through the floor.
Mhm.
It's like, oh my god.
Yep.
And then it just works. It just works.
Yeah, so that is number 5. So White Christmas, Hang the DJ. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is what I believe is regarded as one of the best just by like public opinion.
Mhm.
That being San Junipero.
What? I didn't get that thing. I don't have a image for that.
I literally told you.
All right. Well, there we go. San Junipero. I don't have an image stored up for that one.
Did I not tell you though before this episode?
I don't know. You didn't correct me when I was doing anything, and you
Do you
see
think I
them
was-
listed here. Anyways,
San
San
Junipero.
Junipero. This one has Mackenzie Davis from Terminator Dark Fate.
And oh no, that's not the pops you have. I thought you had the pops.
They are turned into Funko Pops. These ones were turned into Funko Pops.
Yeah, basically, I think this one's also feature length. This takes place in the 80s. Well,
Let's see if I can get an image here.
because I really like the style choice of this episode, like of the 80s, like very vibrant. And it's like a nostalgia that I personally never knew. If you want to pull that up. Yeah. Yeah. You even said that you guessed my list, and so you knew it last night.
That might be the wrong kind of file. Let's try this one as well.
Perfect. Awesome.
And 1 second,
difficulties.
folks. Didn't have this one ready to rock. There we go.
That's great.
All right, so here it is, San Junipero. It might not fill the entire screen up, this one, but there you go, San Junipero.
San Junipero. Yeah. Takes place in the 80s, where these two lovely kids, they're like oddly drawn to each other. And San Junipero is an island, and it's known as a place of paradise, basically. Like nothing wrong could ever happen. You're just meant to live your life, have fun. And yeah, I mean, it's a very melancholy love story.
That's what it is, yeah.
I'll put it that way.
A lot of the Black Mirror episodes, a lot of my favorites deal with relationships. Like that's the main central focus of the episodes. Those always are the ones that will just out of the gate, you'll have more of my attention. If it's more of a personal level, kind of, somewhat romantic, or like once we get to the top tier here, like kind of that's very strange going on there. But those are my personal favorites, those kinds of episodes, versus something like, banging a pig. Although I'm very curious if someone like that has to be someone's favorite episode.
Yeah. So it's like ones that actually have more meaning, I think, like a sentimental sort of feeling.
Yeah.
So we don't have the same 4.
I thought we did. Well, then we have at least 3 in the top 5.
All right. So then what's your 4?
My 4 is a concept that was actually turned into a movie, I think in 2005, 2004, 5, or 6. It's somewhere in there.
4, 5, 4, 6.
And it stars Robin Williams. It's called The Final Cut, and it's about this guy who basically is able to look back once someone dies. He goes back through their entire life and he cuts their entire life together for like their ultimate kind of piece, like to be memorialized. And that's his job. And then of course there's like a murder conspiracy thing. It goes wrong, but of course, but like that general idea of your entire life being recorded by you is amazing to me. The Final Cut is not a good movie. Like they really butchered the whole premise, which is why when I watched the entire history of You, I was like, wow, they took the premise of The Final Cut, and I don't know if that's on purpose, but they took that general idea and they made it what it should be, so basically this is and the great thing about the poster for this one is it's literally YouTube. Yeah. So right there, the entire history of You.
YouTube.
It's like the little YouTube logo.
Yeah, this episode was really close. I will say I was like teetering between 2. And yeah, this one hurts because personally, I'm a very sentimental person, And I really like one of my biggest fears is forgetting. So I try to remember as much as I can about anything, like every little detail, little story. Like you'd be amazed at how many like pictures, videos I have just because I would hate to forget. So it's like in theory, the idea of having a little grain installed in your little skull that essentially is forever recording everything that you see through your eyes, like its own little lens, and then you can pull it up on your TV via AirPlay and play back whenever you want or see it in your eyes like whenever you want. Like that sounds like perfect
Yeah.
for me.
It sounds perfect, but of course,
Sounds
Black
perfect.
Mirror does the imperfections to it, and it's
Yeah.
basically revolving around a couple who somebody's not being truthful, and
And you can't get away with any sort of lies because they have it already
that's
here.
quite literally the thing. Like I could go to Haley, I go, well, then pull it up right now, and if she says no, then well, hey, something's going on there. So
Mhm.
it's an amazing concept. It's again the final cut movie, I think, just didn't do it justice. This one does it justice, and it is impactful. By the end of the episode, this is the one, like one of those episodes where, both, in my opinion, both your jaw is on the floor and your heart has been like just
Oh,
ripped out, thrown on the floor with your jaw, and crushed into a million little pieces.
can I mention one scene that really stuck out to me?
Yeah.
One scene, like I just have to mention it because it's really like gut wrenching, heart churning. I don't know. Is when because you can play these memories like whenever you want, right? Like through your own vision,
Yep.
and nobody can see it unless you airplay it. And this estranged couple, is like doing intercourse, I should say, via to not get demonetized,
Getting
uh,
kinky.
getting kinky, but
Which
they're
there is like every episode has
oh
something to
oh my
do
god.
with
You should see like
yeah.
this is for a mature audience. This whole show, like Netflix will pop up at the top, like rated M for da
Yeah.
da da da. Da.
There's a
But
lot of dirtiness.
it literally like normally it's like sex, violence, drugs, and then but for each Black Mirror episode, it's like da 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 da. Da. It's like oh god, what are they not doing in this?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, but yeah, they're doing it, and they are both playing visions of previous encounters with different people.
No. It's them,
Oh,
but they're doing it earlier.
really? I thought it was different people.
Yeah. No, they're doing it earlier.
Oh,
Yeah.
then yeah, just old memories because they can't stand to look at each other. And it's like, wow, that's like the future that we're trying to get to.
Or
That's
I don't
terrible.
know if it's necessarily them not being able to stand each other. It's just,
They just can't well, they can't look at each other in the act. It's like
yeah, like
they need something
they would
else.
rather stimulate themselves with a past version of them doing it versus being in the moment and doing it.
Yeah, that it's like in that segment, it's like this is the future.
Yeah.
That's sad.
Yep. It is sad.
But
So that is number, what is that, 4?
more.
Okay, so that's 4. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is where we
We start meshing.
mesh.
Okay.
So my number 3 is the USS Callister.
Ooh.
So I was initially deterred from watching this one because I had seen the pops. I knew it was very Star Trek adjacent, like it was or inspired by, like very Star Trekky.
Yeah.
I'm not a Star Trekky fan.
Just look at that image. Like that's obviously Star Trek. That's Captain Kirk right there.
Yeah, I not a fan of Star Trek. I'm sorry. We just lost 1 million subscribers.
Oh, I mean, I'm not either.
Oh, 2 million subscribers. Yeah. So I was like, I really like don't care. But this episode is basically it's again something within a something. So it's this tech guru guy, right? Who creates this game. Think of the movie Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds, where you can put yourself in this game, but yourself and the characters have a sentience. they developed this sort of technology to give video game characters sentience. And he is essentially Spock, and he plays the game. Sounds innocent enough. He just plays a video game.
Yeah, he's in control of the entire game. So
Entire mission.
he logs in. It's like a virtual reality kind of thing. He's in there doing his stuff. But the people in the game become aware that they are in a game and that they're being controlled by this man.
Yes. So
there's obviously subtext of male dominance, like the whole Me Too thing, Oh, it's so good.
It's so good. This is one. I would say this would be one to if you want. Because I don't remember how long this one is. This would be a good first episode too, I would say.
Let's look her up. This one is
because it's like that perfect balance of like it has the technology, it has the gut wrench, it has
76 minutes.
All right, so it's a little long, but
76 minutes.
But there's not much you have to keep track of, like with an anthology within an anthology. I don't know. I just think it's
it's just one story.
Yeah.
That's just start to finish one story. Yeah, it's great. And they were turned into Funko Pops right back here.
Robert Daly.
Very good, very good. Love USS Callister. My number 3 is an episode that will absolutely hit you right in the gut.
My gut.
It's called Be Right Back. Not our Be Right Back from earlier, but it is called Be Right Back. That is Haley Atwell, who many of you might recognize as starring in the newest Mission Impossible movie. And it also has Donald Gleason, who is from the Harry Potter series. He plays one of the Weasley brothers. He was in Ex Machina. So the dude is great. And it's basically a couple, and the husband dies tragically. And there's a service that will basically allow, sort of like a chat bot, you can stay in contact with the deceased person. You can have a conversation, and then the technology, you can keep taking it a step further. So from that point on, instead of it just being text, you can start getting phone calls from the person. The dead person will start calling you.
Yeah.
And then it ultimately culminates, and this isn't a spoiler, it culminates in the tech company sending you something in the mail that you put into your bath, like a warm bath. You leave it in there. You add in all these
salt, a little pepper.
You add in all these ingredients they send you and stuff. It sounds far-fetched, but it's amazing. And then you like let it sit for like an hour, and then it's a physical being of the person that is deceased.
It's not quite a robot, but it's not quite like just a mannequin either. It's
No,
like
it looks like them, sounds like
clone.
them, and it's sort of just like, what are we doing here? Like,
it's like, where's the line of morality drawn?
Like you're dead, but now you're back and you're talking to me. And so obviously it deals with themes of grief, which is just something that is resonant with so many people. If you've ever lost somebody in your life, this is probably an episode that's going to be hard to watch, because you'll understand the pain that Haley Atwell's character is going through, the longing to bring the person back, and then of course okay, now that you're back, I don't know if I like this. It's, for the longest time, Be Right Back was my favorite episode of the entire show. And then it got topped by a couple episodes, but it's remained in my top 5. This is, I think, the one that will always be in my top 5. Those other 2 that we've talked about, Entire History for me and Hang the DJ, I could see them getting kicked out. Maybe I can't see Be Right Back getting kicked out at all. Personally, yeah, no. I think it's a masterpiece of an episode, and amazing performances. It'll make you love the Bee Gees. It's good stuff.
You don't already.
It's good stuff. So that's my number 3. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is another one where it's an anthology within an anthology, but cooler and somehow darker.
Very dark.
Then that's not just because it's called Black Museum.
Black Museum.
Yeah. This one, fun fact, is actually there was a collaboration with Penn Jillette.
Yeah, so this is like Haley was saying, there's 3 stories within this. I think 3.
Yes. Correct.
And the first story is based off of a story that Penn Jillette from Penn and Teller wrote in the 80s. And Charlie Brooker found out about it, and then Penn and Charlie Brooker collaborated. And that first mini episode in here is Penn Jillette gets credit. He actually wanted to be in the episode,
Oh no way.
but I think it was too far along in production for him
Aw.
to get worked in. But
Nuts.
yeah,
Yeah, this one, man, if you had already seen White Christmas and you're like, man, this can't get any weirder.
weirder, intense.
Watch Black Museum. God, this is like a dream for me. Like in some weird.
Wait, so we're on
sick
number
dream.
2, right?
Yes.
So this is my number 2 as well.
Really?
Yeah, I switched them around. After thinking, but
Boo.
yeah,
Okay, fine.
so both of us agree that our number 2 is Black Museum.
Yeah, it's basically this woman. She drives out into the middle of bumfuck and she stumbles upon this building. And think of it like Ripley's, believe it or not.
Well, yeah, look at it right here. It's just like some makeshift, like
Yeah.
weird oddities museum
Yeah.
thing.
God, I love stuff like that. Like, I guess there's one here in Savannah
Yeah.
that I want to see so bad. So
Mhm.
she goes in, and the guy who runs it, he basically he has all this collection of things that have all of the things have something sick and twisted and vile attached to it.
Mhm.
Like something even as cute as a little teddy bear has some dark past or reason behind its existence. And the stories that they tell, it's like, God, how can each item you just want like a full 20-hour episode of this guy detailing every single thing he has in his museum. Like,
Yeah.
God, I would watch that. Like, I would watch a whole mini series of all these items.
Yeah.
And it's just so it's so wow.
This is the one that most feels like if Jordan Peele was going to make a Black Mirror episode,
Yes.
this is the one that he would have made.
Yeah. No,
For sure. This is the one that Jordan Peele. So if that means anything to anybody out there,
yeah, and
maybe check out Black Museum.
and it's not like the weirdness or the evil, malicious things surrounding these objects go undermined. Like this woman is very clearly distressed after every story, but she's like, "What about that?
Yeah.
Like that can't be so bad," and it is. And yeah, it all culminates to you have the front of the building with the main objects that are there, but then it's sort of like, what's the grand finale? Like what
Yeah, what's
I
in the
have.
back?
Yeah, it's like you have all this, but what's behind door number 3?
Yep.
Like that's what I think he even says, like, I save that for people who are really truly interested. Like
Yeah, something like that. It's a wild,
and-
wild
and
episode.
it's like, what's behind the door?
It's a roller coaster ride of an episode. How long is that one? Let's
Not
see.
long enough.
I wonder if it's longer than Black Museum. Clocking in at 69 minutes.
That's funny.
69
That's
minutes.
funny. That's the funny number.
And
yeah,
the,
based on
the funny thing is, it's saying here it was met with mixed critical reception. Most reviewers found the storyline and characterization poor, and the final plot twist proved polarizing.
eat my butt.
Well, as most plot twists tend to do,
yeah.
they are polarizing. You're
Eat
going to
my
fall one way or the other. But we both agree that this is for sure an episode that you should give your attention to.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's like it's borderline horror.
It is, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so my number 1, we've talked about it already, but I'll just bring it back up here, is USS Callister. And the reason I chose it, because Black Museum was my number 1.
Yeah, it was for a while.
That was, and if I had to say what I think the greatest Black Mirror episode is, I do think it is Black Museum. I think that is the
the Black Mirror.
That
That is the
is,
mirror.
yeah, that is now some, but then now like someone like Larry might be, well, then why didn't you suggest that as my first? I don't want,
Ye-
I don't want you to start at the
Yeah,
top,
right.
you know? I
Yeah.
want you to kind of work your way up. So that's why I think the national anthem's a good entry point.
Okay, that's if you're going based on that, that's a good point.
So, but for my favorite, I would rather watch USS Callister because there is a bit of comedy mixed in there.
Mhm.
You know, there is a bit of, and it is a one story from start to finish kind of thing. I love simulations. I love, you know, people realizing they're in a simulation,
And
you
it
know?
brings up a lot of questions like what is the morality of having sentient things that aren't people, but they
Yeah.
kind of are people, but they wouldn't be outside of this
But that is the power of the episode because you're also thinking, wait, these are just video game. Like I don't like
why do I
why
care? I
would
could
I
just
care that this guy is forcing them to do things that are horrible, but why would I care? And then ultimately you go, well, even if they are not real people, they feel real. They have obviously they clearly express and showcase feelings of some sort. So now it's sort of like, wow, all right, you're
so,
making me care for video game
so you're
characters.
telling me that some point in the future my Sims are actually going to feel bad for me taking away their pool ladder? Hmm,
They might already.
That's
They might already. We don't know. But it is, I think, it's definitely my favorite Black Mirror episode currently. Having seen more than half of the episodes, I'd be shocked if something came out of left field and took it out of its place. Maybe we'll have to see. But like I said, they did get turned into. There's Robert. He's the guy that creates the game right there, and then she's the main like
video
kind of,
game.
yeah, she's the one that like heads the whole, oh shit, we're in a simulation, we got to get the hell out of here
Mhm.
kind of thing. So it's amazing, highly recommended, check it out. I can't give it higher praise.
Yeah, it's especially like it's a little like, oh nuts when you realize that like he's a dweeber, like in real life, like just like any sort of ordinary Joe
Mhm.
working in an office. But then he goes home and he goes on his game, and it's like I'm the commander of this shit.
That's some like that's another thing I love, you know, like that whole duality thing, right? You know, your outside persona and then the person that you try to like you really feel like you are. And the only outlet he has is to go into this video game
And
world.
yeah,
That's something Black Mirror does so beautifully is you're always pitying these like a lot of these people because you know something like
vipers,
striking vipers. If you
vipers, think of snakes.
if you've seen that episode, I mean, you can't help but feel sad for so many of those characters, but mainly the like the two main dudes because it's sort of like you have to rely on this virtual reality world
To feel something.
to feel something. The entire history of you, you have to rely on being able to see your past memories to feel something. USS Callister, you have to feel something only by being,
Like Nosedive, where the
yeah.
entire your entire human perception is based on ratings. Like,
Yeah. That's why I think Black Mirror is so important because it, you know, when you end an episode, I think you walk away going,
I'm gonna live like the Amish.
I like, yeah, like I like my phone, right? Like I like my phone, but you almost feel like I'm going to put it on silent now. I'm going to put
I'm
it
gonna
on
go take a
silent
walk.
and I'm going to call my mom and say, "Hey, I love you." Something like that, or take a walk or
Take a walk.
go say
Pet
hi
the
to a
kitty.
neighbor,
Pet the
something like
kitty.
that, you know. So
Yeah.
that's my favorite. My number one, USS Callister. So, real quick from the top, number 5 is going to be Hang the DJ. Number 4, The Entire History of You. Number 3, Be Right Back. Number 2, Black Museum. Number 1, USS Callister. What's your number 1?
My number one is one that we already talked about, but I will go a little more in depth, and that is Be Right Back. Yeah, so I guess it's no surprise that this one really hits hard for me and it's stuck with me. Like I could like this is one episode, like, when you get to see so many and only once, I've only seen all of them only once. My favorite is the one that ultimately I remember the most of, and that's Be Right Back. Because again, like the entire history of you, it sounds wonderful on the
Yeah,
surface.
on paper.
Like, you know, you like my Nana, I'll put as an example. Like if you give this program every single text log, every phone call, voice message, every photo, video, something that is derivative of this person that you want to bring back, it'll eat it and spit out essentially a faceless version of it. And what I mean by that is like it's objectively that person, but it lacks any sort of emotion, any sort of feel. It's a shell of
Yeah,
that
because there's a
person.
great moment in Be Right Back where I think they're like, trying to be intimate or something. And he's asking, because I think his character's name is Ash, would Ash do this?
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't know, just do it. Right? It's like, why are you asking me, would Ash do this? You're Ash. Why are you in the third person
And
right now?
and it's like, well, of course they wouldn't know because I didn't have anything to like it's like if I don't have a text saying that they like spaghetti, then that program isn't going to know that they
Yeah.
like spaghetti.
Yeah.
So,
That's the greatest, like, that's the cool thing about Black Mirror too. A lot of the technology involved, it is somewhat believable. So this, like, the way this artificial intelligence gains its,
mhm,
intelligence is from going through all of your social media,
mhm,
anything you've ever put out there. It traces, it takes, the captions, the photos, all that stuff, and it puts it into it.
yeah.
And so that's like believable. Like that sounds like at some point that's going to be a thing, if not already.
And it's like, on the surface, like if you take it for like the level one, where it's just like chat GDP, where you ask it a question, it spits out an answer. And it's like, that is something that they would say. And then, but like the character, like the main girl, you can't just, it won't stop there. If there's more, you're going to want more.
Mhm.
So, like I could so like I so saw myself in this character, it wasn't even funny. Like not saying that it was my husband, but
No,
like
you were
a
relating it to
loved
your
one.
grandmother.
Yeah. So it's like of course I would want like if I saw a text then if they can mimic the voice and have them say something, but where it sort of deviates is when you want it to be another like iteration of that person. Like, you want it to just be that person again, and ultimately, no matter how much you say, "Oh, I won't do that," or, "Oh, that's too weird," you're gonna want that, and it's so sad. It is so unbelievably sad, and the fact is, like you said, this technology is believable. We're slowly getting there,
Mm.
and that's scary.
Yeah, the most far-fetched part of it is the whole putting the thing
Oh,
in the
yeah.
bath, adding the salt or whatever, and then boom, it has, like, there's the
Right.
person.
But it's like, we have the chat bots and then
The
we have the
voice.
voice things like you see like Joe Rogan talking or the
Yeah.
president.
Ugh.
And then there's like that one technology where if you give it a photo of somebody, it animates their face. So it's like we're almost there. And it's like part of me even now is like I kind of want to try it with a photo, see how it works. Does it look like she's moving again? But then it's like Mm, I won't tread those waters. That's I'll leave well enough alone.
Yeah.
'Cause it's so man. And then you melancholy is just the theme.
Yeah, melancholy.
So it's like, you know, you sort of feel like hope, like, oh, because she never got a chance to say goodbye, this is like her chance. And then you're like, how could this go wrong? And it goes wrong.
It goes wrong. Yeah, there's not much I can add to it that you haven't already said, but it is emotional. It's very it's just
Touch.
it's one of those, once the moment happens where she gets the news that he passed away, that's sort of like, and then I think it's a family member that tells her about the service that,
Yeah.
you can talk to him through, chat. And
She's like, "I'll never do that."
I I can't imagine how you're not hooked at that
Mhm.
point from that point on,
This was the first episode that you showed me.
And I showed this to my parents. I showed this to my mom and dad, and they like I knew my dad would like it because he's into that like
Twilight Zone.
weird. Yeah, this is very Twilight Zoney with the like bringing the person back. Mom loved it. Yeah, it's just it's one of those, and I do think it is considered one of the best episodes. Like critically, I think it's considered one of the best episodes of the whole show.
If you look at Letterboxd, I know that's not something truly to go by, but you have a lot of film fans there. There are like enough that like I can only count on one hand. I just can't remember how many that are rated 4 or above. And I think this is one.
It's worth it. It is worth it. So please do yourself a favor. See all the ones we just listed, but if you have to only see 3, National Anthem, Be Right Back, USS Callister. I think those are the
or screw National Anthem and Black Museum
and stay away from the Waldo moment.
Stay away. God. Oh my God.
Waldo moment.
Stay away from the Waldo moment. Playtest. God, I hate him. No, Playtest is good.
Anyways, well, we just because I don't want to be negative, I was like, oh, we'll do a top 5 worst. Like I don't want to be a channel that does worst.
I kind of want
That's
to.
sort of like there's so much negativity in the world. All right, here we go. We're just gonna see these comments and then we're getting the out of here.
Boinking.
Hang the DJ. Lots of boinking. Yes, there is a lot of boinking in that episode.
There's a lot of boinking in a lot of episodes.
In most of the episodes, yeah.
A lot of boinks.
But we just watched the season 6 episode. There wasn't any boinking. So that's kind of that's kind of refreshing.
No boinks.
How about the It crowd? Are you talking about It like Pennywise? I don't know what you're talking about there. I'll definitely check out Be Right Back. I have seen Black Museum, good one. Another episode that sticks in my mind is Striking Vipers from season 5. Yep, we just watched that last night.
Yeah.
Because a friend had recommended it to us. So
shout out to Jermaine.
Yeah, Jermaine, if you're watching. I know you're not, but if you, in case you ever see it on the replay. Yeah, so Striking Vipers is really good. Anthony Mackie is in that one. Torn between Shut Up and Dance and Archangel as my number 1. We have seen both of those.
Interesting that you choose Archangel, directed by Jodie Foster.
Yeah, I do really enjoy Shut Up and Dance. That's a very creepy one.
Yeah, that's the guy from.
That's creepy.
It's the end of the fucking world or something.
Something like that.
Another Netflix thing.
That one's a good one. That's a good one.
Archangel,
we weren't like. That's one that I don't like. I'm not a fan of Archangel.
She's only 50.
Shut Up and Dance was great, Nadia. It was. When I start streaming someday, I'll check this out. They haven't released anything physically. They haven't. No, it's only because there is like a section on the Wikipedia page for Black Mirror for physical home media releases, and it's only region B. So I don't know if you can get any of that stuff. To me, that sounds like it's all just available over in the UK kind of thing.
Laren, you're doing yourself a disservice by.
Yeah, just like do like a free trial or see if like maybe Dave or something will give you their login code or something. I know Netflix is cutting down on that, but see if it works. It still works for us.
Because there's some good things that are streaming exclusive.
Yeah, and Black Mirror is one of them. I think we can all agree if anybody in the chat can vouch for that. But yeah, like I said, look, I knew this was going to be a quick live stream and I'm happy with that. I knew this wasn't going to appeal to a lot of people because maybe you're not into streaming. Maybe you haven't seen Black Mirror. Hopefully this finds people that do love Black Mirror on replay. This finds people on replay. And let us know your top 5 down below in the comment section. Like, I'm really curious to see if like the Waldo moment is in someone's top 5. You know what I mean? Yeah. Or
hate.
Like just one of those like, you know, or Maisie Day, like the one we just watched from season 6. I'm sure that's in someone's top 5.
Hate.
So I'm very curious, very curious about that. But yeah, so we're gonna get the heck out of here, get some dinner, and yeah, we'll be back this week. I don't know if we're gonna be back live before the end of the month. So it looks like all I'm doing is 7 push-ups. So we went from 40 to 7. That's a big dip, ladies and gentlemen. But hey, it is what it is. So I'm doing 7 push-ups at the end of the month. I'm cool with that just for my arms. But I would love to do more. It's cool, though. There's another month coming up. We're going to switch it up, probably change it from push-ups to something else. Yeah, so I don't know if we'll be back live before the end of the month, but there are definitely some videos coming this week. Some stuff that we have to unbox, some subscriber stuff that was sent. So looking forward to that. And what we got here, I will refer to this video in the future. Does Haley have a favorite classic Twilight Zone episode? We can't spoil that because that is going to definitely be, since we did this top 5 Black Mirror, we have to do top 5 Twilight Zone. So
I feel like it would only be fair to do 1 episode per season.
Yeah, because there's 5 seasons. Yeah. Yep. So that's Laren. I would love to tell you that is a future show that we had in mind. So obviously we both have a favorite Twilight Zone episode because it's the OG, but we'll save that for the future.
Is yours the same as mine?
I don't think so. Those are that's a vast series. That's a vast pool you can choose from. Thanks, you too. See you soon. Have a great night, everyone. You too, Laren. Love you, man. Thank you for being here. Everybody that tuned in. We'll be back, like I said, with some videos this week. And yeah, that's it. So until then, there's one thing you have to do. Keep being fans
of Black Mirror.
Laren, if you need Netflix, I got you. And a great stream. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. I'm excited for Twilight Zone Top 5. Yeah, we are too. Keep being fans of something. Now go get Felix.